What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today we will be reviewing The Invisible Man. So The Invisible Man was directed by Leigh Whannell. It stars Elisabeth Moss, and it tells the story of Cecilia, a woman trying to escape an abusive relationship. And she succeeds, and a few weeks later she hears that this abusive boyfriend of hers has killed himself. He has committed suicide and he is dead. And from that death, she inherits $5 million. So things seem to be going alright at first, until she notices some weird stuff happening, and she begins to believe that he is in fact not dead, but that he has found a way to be invisible, and he is out for revenge. So as I said, this movie was directed by Leigh Whannell, and I did not see his previous film, Upgrade, but a lot of people did, and pretty much everyone who did said that that was an extremely thrilling and entertaining movie from start to finish. Because of that reason alone, I was really excited to see The Invisible Man. And what can I say after seeing The Invisible Man? The Invisible Man is one of the most suspenseful films that I've ever seen. This entire movie had me white-knuckling the edges of my seat if I wasn't doing this the whole time. It just has such a deep sense of invasiveness to it, and in the best way, if you can take that in a good way. Because the thought of someone out to get revenge on you is scary enough. But not being able to see that person and knowing that they could be standing right beside you, that is one of the most terrifying things in the world to think about. This movie really got under my skin, and no movie has really done that to me in a while, at least not a new release anyway. Now let's talk about Elisabeth Moss, because she has to carry this movie. She is in pretty much every scene. I'm pretty sure she's in every scene. She has to carry this movie. It is her movie. How is her performance? It's amazing. Elisabeth Moss is great in this film, and I really didn't expect that. I don't think I've seen anything else of hers. She did a really great job with this movie. I really bought the trauma she was going through. I saw behind her eyes the trauma from that past abusive relationship and just how controlling it was for her and how restricting it was and how truly terrifying that must have been. And then being thrown into this situation where he's out to get revenge and people think she's crazy because they found his body, and she believes that he's found a way to be invisible. The psychological downward spiral of her character was one of the most investing parts of the movie. Elisabeth Moss has to sell that, and she does. It was great work on her part. It's also really well shot. This film is clearly from a cinematographer and a director who had a vision and just gave it their all when it came to this. You could tell they really wanted to say something here. That's not to say that it hammers you over the head with a message. There is an underlying message about abusive relationships, strong female characters and things like that, but it never feels like it's preaching to you. That's another thing I really appreciated as well. Also, the pacing is golden. It starts out in kind of a slow burn type style, and I mean that in the best way, because that really helps to boost the tension. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the opening scene of this movie is her waking up at like 3 a.m. trying to escape this relationship. She gets out of bed, trying really hard not to wake up this boyfriend of hers, trying to go around the house, pack, grab the things she needs, like doing this really quietly without turning on any lights or activating any alarms, because this dude, his house is like multi-million-dollar techno house, you know, things like that. And even though I barely knew much about the characters in that moment, it was still so tension-filled, and I gotta talk about the score. The score for this film is fantastic. It goes between, like, a normal movie score that you would hear like an orchestra and some digital kind of like electro type stuff, but it never got annoying. In fact, there is one scene that uses one of those electronic style tracks, and it really matched the tone very well. So the writing was great, the pacing was great, the performances were great. Also the ending, which is something that a lot of people have been complaining about. You actually have to decide the ending for yourself, because there are multiple possibilities. And I love things like that. It kind of has like an Inception style vibe, like if Inception was a horror movie. But I do have a couple issues with the movie, and they're almost nitpicks. There is some CGI used towards the finale of the film that didn't always hit home for me. There's one shot of someone falling on the ground, and that may seem a little weird, but I also don't want to spoil anything. To explain why it looks so bad, I would have to spoil it for you. It was one shot where someone fell on the ground, and it just looked terrible, like that one shot. But it was, again, only one shot and one scene. And then there's also a couple other times where the movie kind of plays with its own consistency, its own logic a little bit. There are some continuity errors that I noticed, but again, these are almost nitpicks. Really, the only part of that bunch that I would consider like an actual issue with the movie would be the logic. There are some big leaps in movie logic, and then the movie itself toys with that logic a little bit where certain things don't make sense, but in the end, this was an extremely solid film that I really enjoyed. It was extremely tense, so suspenseful. It will be a Blu-ray on my shelf, and I can't believe I'm about to say this. The Invisible Man gets an A. So guys, The Invisible Man, what did you think about it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Are you a little bit in between? Or if you haven't seen it, have you seen Upgrade? What are your thoughts on that film? If you haven't seen either of those films, comment, like, share, subscribe. Please. I'm desperate. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It really does mean a lot. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, keep writing, keep shooting, and keep editing.